Hey guys, I hope you're doing great. I'm just coming to share what God has placed in my heart. And I kept on asking him, God, what is the way forward for Kenya? And God placed in my heart and told me that Kenya right now, we are facing a third liberation. It has been the second liberation, the time for multipartyism, I think that one. But now we are in the third liberation, which is a very important historical time that we are living in right now. And what has happened is that Kenya is changing, that we will never go back to being the same again. That whatever Kenya people knew about, that Kenya has died and now a new one is being liberated. And let me explain why there is a third liberation happening right now. Is that when the colonialists left, when the white folk left, when the English left Kenya, Kenya then was left in the hands of a few individuals. These individuals, they had proximity to power. And what happened with them is that they got the power and they ruled Kenya basically out of self-interest. That what was happening is that people came into office and they plundered Kenya. As them, they became wealthy while the rest of the population became poor and poor and poorer. And that continued over years, since I don't know how many years, 60 something years. And what has happened is that right now, God was bringing to me the story of the Israelites and them leaving Babylon. Babylon comes through Nebuchadnezzar. They capture the Israelites from Jerusalem and they put them in bondage for 70 years as Babylon becomes great. And as children of Israel, they're put in bondage and they are there suffering and crying out to God. And after 70 years happens, is that now, what happens is that now the Babylonians, as in the Babylon kingdom, dies, so to say. It dies, and then the Israelites now begin returning back to their land one by one, slowly by slowly. And Babylon now dies forever as Israel now becomes stronger and stronger. And basically, how I can say it is this, that Babylon has been our black colonizers, people who are the same skin as me and you, but people who have taken a power and have been drunk with power and have used this power for self-interest to enrich themselves, while the rest of us have been in bondage. And what is happening right now in Kenya is that we are facing a liberation whereby the Babylonians, the colonizers, are dying while Israel is becoming strong again. I hope you understand. And what is happening is that this political class, the gatekeepers, who for so long have been getting power for their own interests, now they are dying and they are ending and their days are numbered. And even there are very, very many people, governors, MPs, who have been using these positions for their self-interest. Their time is now ending. These are the Babylonians. What is happening is that now a new Israel is going to arise. They're going to arise people like Nehemiah, Ezra, people who are going to arise. This new class of leaders who are going to come into power now will have to be selfless. Now they'll have to come into public office as public servants because now the population now has been awoken. Now we have seen. Now we are no longer scared by Babylonians. Now we are no longer in bondage. Now we are no longer fearful of them. Now we are liberated, to say. Now we are free men and women. And now the leaders now who are going to come in, and we've seen it from the cabinet. The whole cabinet was thrown off, and now from the cabinet it's going to go to the MPs and to the governors. And anybody who has been using those seats for self-interest, their days are numbered. And Kenya right now is going to change because even though they think they are so powerful, God is more powerful than them. You understand? You know, like the way Nebuchadnezzar thought that he's the most powerful man in the world, but God made Nebuchadnezzar become a wild animal for 7 years. And after that, Nebuchadnezzar said that, and he said this, at the same time, my reason returned to me for the 7 years, and for the glory of my kingdom, my honor and splendor returned to me. My counselors and nobles resorted to me. I was restored to my kingdom, and excellency and majesty was added back to me. Hear what he says. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, I praise and extol and honor the King of heaven, all of whose works are truth, and his ways are justice. And those who walk in pride, he is able to put down. And so we have seen people who walked in pride, thinking that I have all the power, I have all the money, what can you do to me? God is going to start bringing them down one by one. And we have seen from the cabinet, people who are around the president. And it's going to continue. And right now, God is going to begin to bring down these Babylonians, the colonizers, the black colonizers, and going to bring them down. And there's going to arise a liberated Kenya, a free Kenya, a Kenya that now will not be ruled by people who are self-interested. Had a very damning statistics that for you to win MP, a member of parliament in Kenya, you have to use 150 million for campaigning. Just imagine that, for you to become a member of parliament, only for the sole reason that when you get there, your work is to make sure that you steal even 10 times of what you spent, you know. And now what is happening is that public office is now going back to where it is supposed to be, that they're going to be servants of the public, to serve the public for the good. And right now, Kenya, we're experiencing a very historical time. That Kenya right now, we should not drop the ball. That God just used the Gen Zs and the young people to fight for our liberation. But right now, what we're going to do is that we are setting a president, or we are setting a trend, especially for African countries. Because African countries, the template has been the same. People get into power and they plunder the country for their own sake. But Kenya is going to become the model, you know, that is going to be replicated all across Africa. That God, through Kenya, is going to liberate Africa from these few individuals, these few Babylonians who have become black colonizers and have taken what is meant to be for people and have used it for their own self. And I think it's just a warning to the people who are in office. Let me read what Daniel told Nebuchadnezzar. Let me read to you what he told him. Daniel said this: "Therefore, O king, let my advice be acceptable to you. Break off your sins, break off your sins by being righteous, and your iniquities by showing mercy to the poor. Perhaps there may be a lengthening to your prosperity." And so I think it's just about, if you're in office right now, I think it's for you to break off your sins, to humble yourself, to come clean and say, you know what, I've taken this amount of money. It's not meant for me. It's not meant for the public. To return it back, and maybe God is going to have mercy on you, but a change is happening. And it's already there. We've seen it with the cabinet, from the very top. And it's going to go all the way down to the MCAs. Now, those people who are there, who have been using these positions for self-interest, their time has come. It has ended. And as I end this video, for those people who are going to arise from this, the Nehemiahs, the Ezras, the new kind of population, the new kind of leaders who are going to emerge from these ashes, these are people that God is going to use for them to build the second temple, like what they built, like what Zerubbabel built. They'll build the second Kenya, a new Kenya, a Kenya that will be glorious, something that will be fantastic, something that will be, for me, God told me, a first world country. And I still believe that Kenya is going to become a first world country in the next few years. That God is going to use these people and they're going to transform Kenya to become an example that the world will now celebrate. That's it. God is still sovereign. God is in control of Kenya. We're in the right path. God is doing a shake-up, and a shake-up is painful. That's why so many lives are being lost, but that's the price. But we are fighting for our third liberation. And it is soon here, and we are alive to witness it. And I'm so glad. And I thank God that God has his heart on Kenya. Yeah, that's it. So till next time, guys, God bless.